Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Ms. Burkett.
You guys are still the best class for that, all day long. Very nice job. I was out yesterday not feeling so good, but I'm back and I'm still not full voice, but yesterday you did a worksheet in class that illustrated some of the things you read about the theorems and postulates the night before for transversals intersecting parallel lines. You might have recognized when you came in the door that we have this very new thing on the floor that hopefully looks familiar. These would be lines that are parallel. How do you know they're parallel?
They have the two triangle arrow things that are like both forward. The right arrows on both parallel lines have that.
Yes. Okay. Parallel lines have that extra arrow on them. Okay, here and here. The back might not be as easy to see. Okay, that show that those lines go on and on forever and never intersect. Okay. There is a line that's intersecting them. What's that line called? What's the word for that line? Haley?
Transversal.
A transversal. A transversal is a line that intersects two or more lines at different points. So it's hitting those at different points. When that happens with these two lines, we have how many angles formed? How many angles? Cody? 8 angles formed. Okay. So for that reason, I'm going to need 8 volunteers. Okay, 8 volunteers who don't mind doing a little bit of movement today in your geometry class. Taylor? Kellen? Oh, come on, it's Friday.
That's the reason why I'm doing this.
Yep, you 3 can each pick
I
somebody
volunteer,
else.
Dad.
Nicole, get up here.
Hey,
Yes.
come on, Cody. Thank you. Come on up. Any other volunteers? Nikki and Dan, you can pick someone else.
Addie.
Allie and
Addie.
Addie, come on up. This won't kill you. Pick an angle to stand at. What are you doing?
That's not an angle, that's
Oh no, I didn't.
Very nice. Nice. Yeah.
Pretty good.
So you all represent one of the angles formed by the transversal intersecting parallel lines. And I want you to, first thing, point, yes, with your finger, point at your corresponding angle person. You might have to lean forward or back to get around them. Point to your corresponding angle person. Whoever your corresponding angle. Good. Okay. Nice. Nikki and Addie are corresponding. They're both to the right of the parallel lines, the way I'm looking, and in front of the transversal. Allie and Cody are in corresponding or matching positions as well. Forward of the transversal, to the right of the parallel lines, and the same situation is mirrored back here with Kellen and Taylor and Isaac and Dan. Okay. For the audience, if they were actually truly angles, their measures, if they were corresponding, would be what? They appear to be 90 degrees, the way this is laid out. That isn't quite what I'm looking for. For corresponding angle. Brittany?
Would they be the same?
They would be the same. Okay. They might be 90, they might not. I don't have the right angle boxes here to be sure. Okay, but corresponding angles are congruent, so their measures will be the same. Okay. So think my group up here, your angles. Fist bump your alternate interior angle pair. Nice. You guys on the end got left out because you're exterior. Okay. Only the interior crew gets to fist bump. Okay. And you have to do so alternate. So they did. They went diagonal across. Nikki and Taylor are across the transversal, but still on the inside. Okay. Allie and Isaac still on the inside across the transversal. Alternate interior. Okay. So interior people, you might want to take a step forward or back so you have a little space. Alternate exterior might be a little more challenging. Fist bump. Nice. Nice. A lot more space they had to cover. Okay. But still across the transversal, but now outside the edges of the parallel lines. Alternate interior and alternate exterior angles have a measure property in common. Those angles are what with each other? Alternate interior or alternate exterior. Okay, not supplementary. We are saving that. That will come up. They are congruent with one another. Nice save. Congruent. So corresponding angles are congruent. Alternate interior angles are congruent. And alternate exterior angles are congruent. What category haven't we mentioned yet? Brittany?
Same side interior.
Same side interior angles. High five, same side interior angles. Nice. Great. Cheesy, I know, but it's a lot of fun. So the girls up front are in the interior. They did their high five. They're on the same side of the transversal, on the front side of the transversal. Okay. Isaac and Taylor, still in the interior. I'm going to squish between them. On the back side of the transversal. They're on the same side as well. How do their measures relate? If they were angles. Taylor?
Supplementary.
They're supplementary. Supplementary means what? Supplementary. Okay. The 180 degrees when they're... Kellen?
They're combined.
What
measure.
operation is that?
When you add the measures of both angles, you get 180 degrees.
Yep. Okay. So if you would add their measures, you get 180. If you would add their measures, you would get 180. Same side interior angles are the only ones that are supplementary. And your book doesn't mention it, but there is such a thing as same side exterior angles. So interior people might want to leave some space again so they can high five.
So we're high-fiving.
Nice. And we've never talked about them officially, but they do exist. Their measures would be what? Do you have a guess? Same side exterior angles? If same side interior are same side interior supplementary, same side exterior. They're also supplementary, yeah. Okay, so again, your book doesn't mention those for whatever reason, but be aware they do exist, and they're also supplementary. Questions? Questions? Thank you guys for being angles for me. Give them a round of applause. If you switch gears a little bit to your notebook, then that gave you a more realistic representation of the situation. You're used to seeing them more like this, perhaps? Questions? Where you're asked to find all of the other angle measures. We finished with one of these in class on Wednesday. So if you would, make a list for yourself. Either draw the picture and fill it in, okay, or make a list for yourself, something like, you can get this to work. Measure of angle 1 equals, measure of angle 2 equals, measure of angle 3, on and on. You could make yourself the list, or you could draw the picture and fill in the spaces. Bless you.
Thank you.
See if you can fill those in.
first year must not necessarily pay.
So if you would, if you're finished with your list, compare with a neighbor. See if you agree. Argue why you're right if you're not. If you get with 3 people, go ahead. Yeah.
5 is 87, that's what I wrote. 4 is 93. Yeah. And 3 is 87. Did you get that?
Yeah, I think All right, ladies and gentlemen. I just overheard something that is a good observation for this question that isn't always a good observation. Okay? Someone said they're every other one. I heard that. Every other one. In this case, it did end up every other one. There's 2 measurements total that are just alternating down your list. Okay? 93 was my original. And how would I find the other one, the other number? Crystal? Subtract 93 from 180. So my other number, Crystal, ended up being what?
87.
87 degrees. Okay. So those are the 2 numbers. It helps me, at least, to pick out where all of my given ones go first. Okay, so 93, where's somewhere else that you would see 93 degrees? Hannah?
Angle 2.
Angle 2. Do you know why it's also 93 degrees?
They're corresponding.
They're corresponding. Good. Corresponding angles are congruent. So 93 at 2. Also, Taylor?
Angle 6.
Angle 6. And do you know why angle 6?
They're vertical.
They're vertical angles. Good. Vertical angles across the vertex of intersecting lines from each other are also congruent. And Allie?
Angle 4.
Angle 4. And why is angle 4 also 93 degrees?
Because it's congruent to angle 2.
Because they're
The same.
the same measures. Chapter 2. Vertical angles. Good. Vertical angles across the vertex from each other. Okay. So we filled in all of our 93s. We want to know, okay, and we've already talked about the rest of them are 87. Either because same side interior angles add up to 180, or in the instance here perhaps, a linear pair, 2 angles beside each other along a line, also add to 180. There's a variety of different reasons you could justify every step with. In the picture, you do end up with a zigzag every time of the 2 different numbers. In a list, it's not always every other one. It depends on where the numbers are laid out. So I do want you to be very careful to know that maybe if 5 and 6 are switched, don't just count on it being an every other one pattern. You're going to miss maybe half your question. So be careful, know where the numbers are, make sure it actually matches the picture. Don't just make it every other one list. Questions? I want you to take that idea and try to apply it to a new situation. If you were presented with this, and you were asked to solve for the value of x, what would you do? And I don't want to answer yet. Stew over it on your paper for a minute. Okay. You could share with a neighbor. See if you use the same strategy. See if you arrive at the same answer. If they didn't get an answer, help them out.
Sometimes. Only with the best teacher.
Anyone care to share their strategy? Dan, nice and loud. What'd you do?
I said 25x plus 10 equal to 110 because they're alternating interior angles.
Perfect. Came with an explanation, too. In geometry, yes, I care that you can solve this, but I am more concerned with, can you explain why? And Dan just did that. They said, well, they're equal because they're alternate interior angles. So once we have parallel lines with alternate interior angles, we know they're congruent, their measures are equal, so we can solve it. This is an ordinary two-stepper that you're pretty used to. When you solve that, you get, Cody? 4.
X is equal.
4. Remember what I'm always picky about?
4 degrees.
Degrees. Good. Since these came from an angle, we should keep the measure, keep the unit degrees. Does anyone want to see the middle? All right. Well, I'd like to thank Jamie for filming me. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for putting up with being filmed.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks.